Welcome to Club and Country here on the 440 Sports Network. I am Braden Gall, and you can follow me on the internet at Braden Gall.
I'm Ben Wright. You can follow me on the internet at Ben Wright, or you can just wallow in self-pity for the next 4 years, and I won't blame you.
My name is Steve Cavendish. Don't follow me. It's really too depressing right now.
And there's the tone of the show, folks. Following the United States.
Listen up, folks.
Total debacle against Belgium and Seattle on Monday night. 4-1 exit from the World Cup that they are hosting, I guess, along with Canada and Mexico, all out of the tournament now. And so we are brought to you by beer. I needed it last night. I'm going to need it the rest of the tournament. So beer, thanks for sponsoring the show. East Nashville Brew Works, still a great place. Still a great place to watch other matches that don't involve the United States. But you can watch those matches at East Nashville Brew Works in East Nashville. And, of course, in far East Nashville, out there in Wilson County, where they have an enormous cathedral to local beer and, like, families and sports and all kinds of cool stuff. They've got a dog park. They have a putting green. They have a climbing wall. They have a playground. They have a giant projection screen that will not be showing any more United States matches. Also, Yazoo Brewing Company and Tennessee Brew Works. Tennessee Brew Works. We are not in a good place this morning, boys, and we'll try to talk through what happened because there are two large conversations, which is what happened on the field against Belgium in one of the most disappointing matches of my lifetime as an adult. And then there's what's happening with USA Soccer. How do we look at the tournament? How do we look at what's happening? What happens with the coach? What happens with the roster? What happens with the next 4 years? There's a larger conversation here, right? And so I think we're just going to start with venting here just to begin the show because I've been talking through this with my wife. She's tired of it. I've been talking through it with people on Twitter, and they're probably tired of it. So I'm going to do it with you guys and see if it works. This is my ultimate feeling on all this, and I'll try to keep it short and let you guys take over. But that is that how you play and how you lose is really what matters in a World Cup. Everyone loses. Everyone loses in a World Cup. We all lose.
All but one.
It's for almost all of us, winning the championship isn't the thing. You're all going to lose. How you do it matters. Cape Verde captured our hearts and our minds as a country and as a globe because of how they lost. And we forgot who we were within 30 seconds of the game starting on Monday night against Belgium. And I am not disappointed in losing. Yes, that's sad, and that will be a bummer. Losing 2-1 to a top 10 European side with lots of talent is nothing to be ashamed of. How they played was embarrassing. They were sloppy. They were timid. They looked totally unprepared. Belgium changed some strategy, which is credit to them. They looked distracted. They looked like a team that had been reading about themselves for a week and how great they were. There was no American in their soccer. There was no aggressiveness. There was no pace. They were scared. And it is so embarrassing. And that's before we get to one of the most embarrassing goals I have ever seen in my life. They're down 2-1 with all of that stuff, and it doesn't even include the last two goals that they gave up. So that's where I'm at right now, boys. It is about how we played and how disappointing it is to end such a fun, amazing tournament in such an embarrassing and disappointing way. And we'll talk Christian Pulisic. We'll talk Pochettino. We'll talk about all this stuff. But that is ultimately how I feel last night and this morning.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I mean, I feel like I could go on a rant here for 45 minutes. So pull me back in if you need to. I don't think we can talk about this without talking about the Fuller and Balogun controversy, because for me, that's when the vibes kind of fully evaporated. It felt like this team, weirdly, I never thought it would be to the point where other neutrals from other countries were pulling for the United States, and it felt like we were at that point during some of the group stage and the Bosnia match, and it felt like in a way we were kind of like a plucky team that impressed people. The way that we played was excellent through the group stage. I mean, aside from the Turkey match, which you made 10 changes, whatever, throw that one out the window. The atmospheres were electric. I think by and large, this World Cup has exceeded expectations off the field. And so I think all of that played into the fact that people were supporting this team who otherwise would not support the U.S. I saw the decision from FIFA first thing on Sunday morning. It felt weird. It felt like FIFA being FIFA. They had done it for Ronaldo. I didn't love it, but you know what? It felt like just FIFA being FIFA. And then it comes out that Donald Trump and the White House tried to get involved. I don't know if they actually impacted it, but the moment that they got involved, I feel like that just kind of killed the vibes for me. And it's FIFA. We all know they're corrupt. I'm sure there are plenty of other government officials from other countries who try to do stuff and influence FIFA, but like just keep your mouth shut about it. There is absolutely no reason to go out and make it about you. And I felt like
do you where have you been the last 10 years?
I mean, be content with ending the Iran conflict 50 times and just stay quiet. And I feel like the moment the White House and Donald Trump has, I don't want to make this, I know there are people listening who don't agree with me on this, whatever, but like Donald Trump, to his credit, has, maybe not to his credit, maybe he has finally listened to other people. He has stayed out of this.
Yep.
They have not cut to Donald Trump in the stands. And I think if they had been cutting to Donald Trump in the stands, we'd be having a very different conversation about the vibe around the tournament. And it just frustrates me that the moment that side of America got involved in it, I feel like the vibes evaporated. And for me, I think the play on the field just matched that. I think it felt like stuff had changed over the last 24 to 48 hours. And on the field, it absolutely looked like that. This did not look like the team that played against Paraguay or Australia or hung on for 30 minutes. At the end of the Bosnia game, I think we were all saying, you know what? This is clearly a more talented team than past U.S. national teams. But you know what? They finally kind of showed some of the guts and the heart that we loved from the 2002 team, the 2010 team. That was gone. You talked about Cape Verde and their loss to Argentina. Mexico went out and basically died on the field to stay alive in this tournament to England. Canada died on the field to stay alive to Morocco. And I think you can make an argument that both of them played better against a better England team and a better Morocco team than this U.S. team lost to. And so I if you had told me before the tournament started that they would have lost to Belgium in the round of 16, I would have said, fine. It's kind of what we expected this team.
Right.
But to just go out there and give up. And I know we're going to talk about Christian Pulisic later, but my gosh, Landon Donovan or Clint Dempsey or Michael Bradley would have had to have been scraped off the field to come off. And I thought he just looked like he was ready to be off of the field since the first half. And for him, I think this is a reputation killer. And you're not going to be able to talk about Christian Pulisic's legacy with the U.S. national team without remembering the home World Cup, the once in a generation opportunity that he had to be the guy that he took 4 shots in this entire tournament. Like, what are we doing?
He missed the game and left the 2 other matches early for worthy reasons or otherwise. And we'll get to that. Cav, go ahead.
The way that we lost, I'm going to be thinking about this for 4 years.
Yep.
So I wrote down a bunch of stuff last night. Let me see if I can kind of parse this. When I was 19 years old, I was driving to work, and it's this nice sunny day. I'm tooling down I-40, and a dump truck pulled out onto the interstate, and I smashed my car into the back of a dump truck at about 45 miles an hour. And the only reason I am sitting in this chair right now is because of a seatbelt. So go wear your seatbelts. If you look on my forehead, there is a scar right here that comes up.
I can't wait to find out where this is going.
That was the steering wheel, and it is. I don't recommend that experience to anyone. The U.S. vibes had been so good, had been so nice, had been so fun. And then this weekend, we ran into just a full-on scandal, and that there's no other way to say that. They were trying to change the rules. I agree with everyone who has said that never should have been a red card, but these are the rules we were playing by. And all of a sudden, we went from being, and I think Ben noted it really well, we went from being the happy hosts that everybody loved to the bad guys, and it killed everything. And it felt, and you compound that with how we went out, and it felt like hitting that dump truck again. Everything just stopped. And it is such a shame because I really legitimately enjoyed a lot of this team. They were so much fun to watch, especially in the early stages. It was fun kind of watching them adapt to what Pochettino was trying to do and them getting it in spurts. And you could start to see, wow, I'm on a group chat with a bunch of guys, and one of the constant rephrases is, are we good? Question mark. And like the question mark started to disappear. Oh wait, maybe we were good. We are not. I mean, we're decent, but we are not a top tier. We are not a top tier. And I think if we'd gotten to the quarters, and all I was really looking for from this World Cup was, okay, let's get to the quarters. Get into that final eight. Make yourself in that tier. And it didn't happen. And it didn't happen for reasons that we don't know behind the scenes. For a second straight World Cup, there was bullshit going on behind the scenes in Qatar, and we know now it was all of the Rainer Berhalter stuff. And then this thing, which churned behind the scenes, for 4 or 5 days, that obviously U.S. Soccer was trying to get this stage. Take your medicine, guys. Take your medicine. Prepare for it. Put Haji Wright or Pepe at the top, and let's go and prepare for it and be mentally ready. And when they stepped out on that field, they were not mentally ready for that game. And you saw it in reaction times that were just a touch slow, 50-50 balls that they were missing.
Or didn't even try to challenge for.
But Pulisic being knocked down the first 3 times he touches the ball.
Well, and you saw this like several times too, like playing balls into spaces that they had been a step quicker to at every point up to this game, and they weren't now. It just felt like hitting something. We just ran smack into it, and the speed of the impact is the reason why we're all dazed today.
Yeah. So
because we the vibes were that good. They were so much fun, and I've got so many different kind of texts from fans, from friends, and people that had gotten really emotionally invested in this team, who were just like, "What the fuck do we do now?"
So I think I want to be clear, and I don't think this is what either of you are saying, but I want to make sure we're clear on this. We didn't lose a match like that because of just vibes, right? Credit to a very talented Belgium team and the coach, the manager, Rudy Garcia, pulling some really interesting strings, clearly galvanizing a locker room with what happened with the red card. That there's no question as you watch them orchestrate the YMCA Trump dance in the locker room afterward and for social media, and the posts were all ready to go. Like, it's clear that this really did affect them from a galvanization locker room standpoint. But he benches like 3 of the most important members of the golden generation. Now, is Lukaku ready to go and playing 90 minutes? Of course not. Like, he is a last 20-minute player and still has something in the tank, obviously. But Kevin De Bruyne not playing, benching $100 million Jeremy Doku, like to bring legs and speed and pace and physicality into their starting 11 was genius. Like, you got to give them credit too here. It wasn't just our bad vibes. Like, they did a lot of good stuff. And I told my kids, I was like, guys, this first 8 to 10 minutes, which is where we have been so good, I want to see the same slicing runs from Weston McKennie. I want to see the aggressive through balls. I want to see us play the same style. Be us. Play attacking football. And we're going to see what happens in this first 8 to 10 minutes. And it was the complete opposite. It was completely not, like no total blown coverage on the back end. Like they looked so much the quality and class of just simple things like settling passes. Like we couldn't even do that in the first half. It looked so disjointed. It looked so out of character. And to like one of the things I think we mentioned on last episode was the opportunity. All the work that's gone into this last 4 years and this tournament and all the things that they have done, it was about creating an opportunity. It was having an opportunity at our best stadium with our fans, with a generation of players who are almost all in their prime and playing in good form for this tournament at least, and a Belgium side that looked nothing like the team that played on Monday night against us. And that was the opportunity that we all wanted as fans. That was it. That was the opportunity. And not only did we, like, again, I would have been fine with a 2-1 loss if we had played our asses off. Played our brand and lost 2-1. You go, you know what? That's a top 10 European team with world-class talent, and we lost. And that's fine. But they just completely wet the bed. And I know now we're repeating ourselves, but like it was a missed opportunity.
It has to be said, full credit to Belgium.
That's right.
Who out coached, outplayed, out everything the U.S. The one of the things I've written down here is Belgium took away our width, and we did not handle it well. And the U.S. has been sort of the beneficiary of, in this tournament, playing teams that could not get as wide as them, could not put as much speed on the outside as the U.S. can. And Belgium took that away, and we didn't have a great response for that. And it took us until the second half to be able to get into sort of a game state where we had enough possession that we were going to start to create chances. But the kind of the things that you're talking about, Braden, like the cutting runs, the kind of the through balls, those pieces, Tillman tried to free up Balogun a couple times over the top, or kind of into the channel in the box, and got close, but not really. But a lot of that was gone away. A lot of the McKinney stuff had been taken away from us. Pulisic was a non-factor. The Serginho Dest was bad enough to be subbed at halftime. And which brings up the kind of the next thing that I have down here, which is our lack of depth absolutely killed us in this game. And it's not just that, like, you can put other players on the field who can do the things that the player they're changing out for was doing. It's that you have someone who can change a game, who can move your team in a direction that's different than the one they were in. And there was very little noticeable difference from when Gio Reyna came in, or when Berhalter came in, or Tim Weah was bad enough that he didn't even get into this game from previous performances. There were no changes to kind of be made in the back line. And the thing that we had always kind of worried about was, when was the clock going to strike on Tim Ream? And it struck in the round of 16.
Yep.
And Ream was not terrible, but Ream was also thoroughly beaten.
He was involved in all three of the first 3 goals being given up in some way.
I don't even blame Ream really at all, because
there was much blame to go around there.
Yeah, but he was at fault for definitely. Not fully at fault for the first goal. I think Serginho Dest, that was a shocking lack. You learn at 5 years old, you never let the ball bounce in your own box. And he just kind of stood there and watched it, and didn't even try to challenge for that. I would have hauled him off after that. But Tim Ream didn't really cover himself in glory, kind of getting caught in no man's land. And then he just got dunked on for the second goal. And then for the third goal, I think most players are able to adjust their body and kind of deflect that wide.
It's not his fault that he's put in that situation. Well, and you got to deflect the ball.
But that's kind of my larger point. It's not his fault that he's been put in this situation at all, because he's been he was fantastic for us in 2022. He's been one of the most consistent center backs we've had. He's played at the Premier League level until the last couple of years, and I think is a really solid defender, the captain of the team. Everybody likes him. He's out there doing his best. the fact that 38-year-old Tim Ream is still so noticeably above any other center back we have in the pool, not named Chris Richards, is shocking. And so I don't blame Tim Ream. I blame every other center back in the pool who has completely failed to step up over the last 4 years.
We're gonna talk about development in a minute.
I'm just saying there is no one else besides Tim Ream. We've given other players so many chances to step up and claim their spot, and no one has done it. And so, I mean, full credit to Tim Ream for still rolling out there at 38 years old and giving it his best shot. But it's on everybody else.
Who just off the top of your head, who would you say belonged on the field for the U.S.? I would say
Fuller and Balogun.
Balogun and Tillman might be the only two in my opinion.
No, Tillman was Tillman. Everybody loves Tillman because of the free kicks. He has been pretty poor from open play. He's great on the half turn, and then his final ball is garbage. And he did that multiple times.
I would but he has made up for that defensively, I think.
Okay.
I think he was in a lot of passing lanes. He did a ton of work.
Sure, I'm not going to go say that he. I'm not saying that. I'm not going to say that he was a standout. And
no. What I mean is that he tried hard, guys. He was playing hard. He tried things. I'm not saying he was a great player. Balogun was the best player.
I'm not giving anybody credit for trying hard in a World Cup round.
The problem is that we have to. Because it didn't.
No, I don't think you have to. I think you can say Fuller and Balogun. He played well. He got zero service, but he did what he was supposed to. And Sebastian Berhalter came on and looked like the only player who realized that they were about to get knocked out of the World Cup if they lost. Other than that, I don't think anybody can take anything from this game.
No, I tend to agree with your overall point. I'm just saying at least
Matt Freese, I don't want to pile on to him because I'm sure no one feels worse about that than he does. But that is a goal that if my goalkeeper at Tuesday Night Men's League gave up, I would scream at him.
Yeah.
You do not do that as a starting goalkeeper in a World Cup. That is the most basic, just clear the ball. Don't take the extra touch. Don't try to pass it back. I don't think he did not kick the ground. He did a little pump fake, realized that he could probably keep possession and tried to pass it back to Tim Ream. It's a disaster.
His foot got caught in the shuffle on that on that kind of do I pass this? Do I not? Kind of thing.
He came out and was indecisive and got killed for it. And I've been on the Matt Freese train because he's been decent with distribution or whatever. But Matt Turner doesn't do that.
Neither does Brian Schwecke. All right, let's get to the Christian Pulisic of it all here, because I do think this isn't going to be just a conversation where we do, hot take radio where we scream and yell about Christian Pulisic being a failure or he's not Captain America or whatever. That's not the way to do this. That's not the way to do this. I think you alluded to it the right way, which is this was an opportunity for him to establish himself in the hierarchy of U.S. soccer as possibly the best player that we've ever had, talent-wise, but also accomplishment. And that's what this was for. And that he has worked his documentary that clearly they put out to try to build his profile a year before the World Cup, which was very good and interesting for a shy player who doesn't normally he doesn't put himself out there as much. In my opinion, when I watched that, I think it's Paramount maybe, I watched it and I thought this is clearly some marketing here to kind of build interest in the World Cup and build interest in this great player that should be the leader and the face of this team. And maybe I'm reading too much into that, but that's kind of what it felt like because he's not really given much access to many people over the years. And that's okay too. But if you watch that, what he's put himself through as a person to get to this moment. That leaving home early to do the whole European thing, the relationships and the family and all the stuff that you have to sacrifice to be in this position. All these guys. And for it to go to and he looked like that in the first half against Paraguay and has not looked like that since that moment. And he got pushed around in the first half, clearly on purpose, Cav, to your point. They took away the wide flank and they physically were pushing him around from the first time he touched the ball. And they were saying to us, let's see how you respond. And we wilted. And Christian Pulisic, I think, is the leader of that. And unfortunately, the story is now about his legacy being something totally different just inside of the one game. And it's unfortunate, but this is how we judge stars. We judge them on the biggest stage and the biggest moments of their careers. It is what it is. And on the biggest stage and the biggest moment of his career, he wilted. He left 2 games early. He didn't play in another one. And that's it. That's just the facts. That's not me trying to bang on Christian Pulisic here. Those are just facts. And I don't know. They I don't know if it's mental toughness. I don't know if it's physical toughness. I don't like questioning those things in any athlete. But I'm with you, Ben. If that's Clint Dempsey, you have to drag him off the field in a stretcher. And I mean like a real stretcher, not like one like an England jumping over the thing.
Like a Jordan Henderson stretcher.
Yeah, Jordan Henderson stretcher, not like you breathed on me weird. I'm Mbappe and I fell over because you slapped my wrist kind of stretcher. It is. I feel bad for him, but only because I'm mad about it to some degree.
I don't make a documentary about yourself when you're 27, 28 years old. That's weird.
Yeah.
Like,
did he have final edit on that? Do you guys know?
yes.
I'm sure he did.
Okay.
I mean, yeah. I have a lot of thoughts, and I'm trying to be careful with how I word things here. No one asked him to be in 5 commercials in every World Cup match. That's a choice that he made. He's
a lucrative choice.
Yes.
I don't fault him for
more
that.
power to him. I would if I had the opportunity to make that much money, I would do it. But like
East Nashville Beer Works, everybody.
Sure. Sponsor me individually.
Yazoo Brewing Company sponsors Ben Wright of 615 Soccer.
Not even of 615 Soccer, just me in my life.
Just Ben Wright.
But I mean, so he wants to be the face of this to some extent. He's the only U.S. player who's in commercials. That's not by accident. He didn't just kind of stumble into that.
Yep.
He has wanted to be. He put out his documentary. He's wanted more publicity heading into this World Cup because it is an opportunity to be the face of soccer in this country. And he just did not show up. And I know, like, he came off injured against Paraguay, but like, and I'm not in the locker room. I don't know all the medical reports, but like, you cannot. I cannot shake the feeling that Clint Dempsey would have tried to play through it. He's in training. He's walking. Like, if Clint Dempsey is walking, he's going out there and getting it out. Like, so what? You got kicked and hurt your ankle. Clint Dempsey would be on the field, like, on one leg and probably have more of an impact than Pulisic did. And like, I think it's just the consistent. What has Christian Pulisic done in a big game that really mattered aside from the Iran in 2010?
I mean, the first half against Paraguay, he was great. I mean, he was the best player on the field.
There are other players who like Julian Green scored against Belgium. Like, there are other players who have there are other players who have had moments that didn't ultimately amount to anything. Like, we keep talking about him in the same conversation as Landon Donovan and Clint Dempsey. Landon Donovan was fantastic in 2022 or in 2002 and actually put the ball in the back of the net and scored goals that actually meant something for the result. He scored the goal against Algeria. That is still probably the moment for U.S. soccer. Clint Dempsey scored goals at the World Cup. What has Christian Pulisic done? And this was his moment. And I think I'm most frustrated by his interview at the end where he was like, yeah, it's a bummer, but I have time to rest now, so it'll all be okay. Like,
I did not see that. He said that?
Yeah. He said, we have time to rest now. It'll be okay.
What?
And just that mentality and kind of just the meekness with which he went off the field. I think it's going to take a lot of people a long time to kind of resolve their feelings for Pulisic and kind of more broadly this team.
Well, and what's really interesting to me is that, you know, everybody has sort of assumed that there is a Pulisic to MLS move at some point in the near future. What if you're in it? What's the calculus if you are an MLS side? Because I think this hurt him. I think this hurt the quote unquote brand. I think teams are. Why would you spend upwards of 20, 30, whatever $1 million in order to acquire him and then make him one of the highest paid players in the league? After this, I just think it's going to be he needs to go do something for AC Milan or whoever else for a while and kind of like get the taste of this out of people's mouths because
I think 2 years.
yeah.
You're not talking about right now, right? Like, or even next. Like the rumors were more about like a couple of years from now, right?
I mean,
No, they've been talking about after the World Cup.
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
And
well,
if there had been,
it's what Toronto did with Michael Bradley and Josie Altidore.
Right. I mean, this would have been a thing where coming off the quarters or coming off a semis run, you know, that he's the face of American soccer, and so he's worth $50 million to
right. New York City is opening a new stadium. It's not super far away from where he grew up. Like,
Cav, I think you're onto something about that he has hurt himself. There's no question, but I think he's hurt himself in a deeper way amongst diehard fans. And I don't know if, you know, I think there's still plenty of financial reasons that you absolutely spend the money to bring Christian Pulisic to an MLS side. I think that you're underestimating the value of his brand amongst a broad set of casuals, let's call it, that would root for an MLS team because they live in the market, right?
I mean, I think
like if Nashville SC brought Christian Pulisic here, kids everywhere are buying jersey and then going to watch him. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know if he beats Warren Madrigal into the starting lineup, to be honest.
Come on.
the thing I wrote down.
Warren Madrigal would have put more fight up.
Well, we know that. We know that for sure.
we know that's the truth. That I wrote down here, end of the Pulisic era.
Yeah,
and
I think there are plenty of fans who would be happy if he's not called up.
Yeah,
again.
Really,
I think so too. He's 27 now. This was his prime. Could he contribute at 31 in the next World Cup? Absolutely. Sure. Would I mind seeing him as a sub off the bench? Sure. Do I want to build a team around him? Absolutely not.
Well, and that goes into, I think I raised this issue after the 2022 World Cup, and I like fully buy this theory. I don't think this U.S. national team has enough guys who are the guy for their team on a weekly basis. I think if you look around this team, they're all supporting. They play supporting roles for a lot of big teams in Europe, and I think we've kind of maybe gotten to the badge FC mentality where we're like, oh, you know what? This guy plays for Juventus. This guy plays for AC Milan. This guy plays for Bournemouth. Like, we must be doing something right. And I do think they're probably a more talented team than any kind of iteration of this national team in the past. But none of them are kind of shouldering the responsibility of every week, if I don't have an 8 out of 10 performance, my team will not win. And I do think, I think there is some disconnect from all these guys who are able to kind of have good careers and be part of good teams on a weekly basis, but are not asked to be responsible for like the ultimate outcome of their team every week. And
do you think that's just unique to the US needing that? Because like the French national team, those guys don't even play they only play like a third of their matches in League One. Like Dembele doesn't even play.
Dembele is one of the best players for one of the best club teams in the world.
Right. What I'm saying is that they don't need that.
What do you mean?
What I'm saying is this question unique to the U.S. player needing that? Because players in all other countries don't need it.
I think all these other, but I think a lot of players for these other countries are that guy for their club team. Like Harry Kane is that guy for Bayern Munich. If he's not scoring, who's
yes.
Like you could.
I guess I'm just talking about the French players then.
Maybe. Well, I don't know. But I do think there is something like, I don't know, if you looked at like Landon Donovan or Michael Bradley or Josie Altidore or Clint Dempsey or DeMarcus Beasley, they were like the number one guy for their club who were responsible for the result for their club every week. And so I don't think it was a jump for them to kind of assume that same level of responsibility for the U.S. national team. And I think when I look at just a lot of these players, what feels like not stepping up to the moment and not taking the responsibility and not being, you know what, if I don't win this, no one else is going to. I just don't feel like that's a coincidence. And I do kind of wonder when you see guys like Diego Luna or Sebastian Berhalter or these guys who are like scrapping every week albeit a lower level in MLS, but they are fighting every single week to carry their team to results. And they come on the field and it just looks like they're more up for it.
Humor me on AC Milan. Hasn't, I know at Chelsea, obviously not the case, but when he gets to Milan, Pulisic kind of does become a little bit more of that.
He plays well, but he's
doesn't
not.
he?
They're not depending on him. If Christian Pulisic doesn't score for AC Milan, Rafael Leao does. They they are loaded, and they have plenty of other players who will pick up the slack for him. That's what I'm saying. Like there are not.
I don't disagree. I think your point is actually quite valid about Pulisic and some of these other players. I'm just trying to think through like you look at the biggest clubs though that are AC Milan level, and like they all have a number of superstars that help carry the load. Is all I'm saying. I'm not disagreeing with your point. I'm just sort of I want to figure out if this is a little bit more appropriate for a U.S. roster where we need more players that have that alpha, that dog in them, to go help carry a team. Even though like Mbappe doesn't have to carry Real Madrid, like he doesn't have to. They've got a bunch. They got all these other guys that can do it.
But he does.
At times, yeah.
Pulisic hasn't scored since December.
No, I agree. Look, I don't think he's not. I think he's on the national team, guys. I think you are. I can't believe I'm the one who's like, stop overreacting.
I'm not saying he's off the national team. I'm just saying I did not think we'd be at a point after the home World Cup that I think a large portion of the fan base would be okay if Pulisic didn't play for this team again.
Like I wouldn't even put
the case.
I wouldn't put myself. I'm very disappointed. I have a bad taste in my mouth. His legacy has changed permanently in my mind, and I still am fine with him coming to MLS and would support him if he played for the national team and think he's going to make the team in 4 years. But I'm with you, Cav. He's more like a guy who can come off the bench and a veteran who's going to know what to do and be in the right places, not a guy who's going to drive play anymore. And so I agree with. So this leads us into the next conversation, which is about USA development, USA soccer, and there's this massive debate that happens at the end of every single one of these kinds of tournaments, and it's very common because I have to do lots of sports talk radio with regular college football and football fans and basketball fans, and it's always about the athletes and the best athletes not playing soccer, and I think that's kind of a straw man argument. We have 330 million people. Belgium is the population of Ohio. And if they can find, we have enough people in our country to find elite players at all sports. It's not about the 6'5", it's not about getting Myles Garrett or LeBron James to play soccer. It's about developing a healthy class of youth soccer player in a better, more efficient, more dynamic way. And so my question is, I want to talk about this roster and just quickly at the end for the next World Cup and who do you think's still around, and Pochettino, what he's going to happen with him. And in his press conference, he's talking a lot about the next era and the next generation. So I'll ask him all that in a minute. How much of this talent gap that we clearly saw on display to some degree, it's not all talent that they lost to Belgium on Monday night. There's a lot of the mental side of it, the focus, being timid and scared and all that stuff. The moment they didn't stand up to it. But Belgium also was more talented, clearly. They're a top 10 team. So from a skill standpoint. So my question is what are we doing wrong? Because it's not about, the elite athletes, Julio Jones don't play soccer. That's why the U.S. won't ever win. That's garbage. There are 300 million plus people in this country. We can find 25 elite soccer players.
We don't have enough time in this podcast to unpack the U.S. development system, which you have varying shades of critics, from people who want to burn it all down to people who want to tweak it, all of whom have the same feeling that you do, which is that we have enough people here. We should be producing more kind of like high level players. But I just don't think that the development system is the problem here. I mean, we're producing good players, and we're producing.
Are we? Tim Ream. Ben just spent 5 minutes talking about how there was nobody at center back to play behind Tim Ream.
To play in among the top 8 teams in the world.
I wouldn't even say that the Belgium game is a skill issue, because I think this roster, as it's constructed right now, is good enough to beat them. Yeah. I think it was 100% mentality, and they just did not look up for it. I mean, you don't think Belgium is a more talented side than the United States? At some positions, sure. But okay. I mean, I think this U.S. midfield, like they play at Bournemouth and Bayer Leverkusen and Juventus. Like you can put them up against the Belgian midfield just on paper, and they should be able to be as good. And I think they've probably been one of the best midfield groups in the tournament up until the Belgium loss. Like Fuller and Balogun is like widely viewed as kind of one of the next big strikers in the world. They're the players they have are talented, and I think it consistently has been a mentality issue. I mean,
we got Flo Balogun on our roster on a technicality, which I'm totally fine with.
So does
Morocco.
Everybody else in the world.
Yeah, no. In fact, I would argue that we need to do more of that. Like,
there are 100 French players in the World Cup right now. You know,
right.
Make up
so
that.
Why
Morocco's entire starting 11 was born outside of Morocco.
Why don't we have any of them?
We do.
I mean, this is what I was saying. We should have sent an airship to Belgium to bring Jeremy Doku's wife to America and Flo Balogun to this situation, so we had a Doku option in 20 years. I'm just saying.
That's long-term thinking right there.
I mean, if we're talking about having hedge fund guys come in and like pick up the tab for coaches, we should be doing some of this like long-term planning stuff too.
I guess, look, I think two things can be true. It is clear that we are gaining talent slowly but surely since the 94 World Cup. Like, we have gained talent, gotten more talented, are developing better. There's no question about that. But we are still not close to the countries that are doing this extremely well. And do I think we should ever be as good as the French national team or Argentina at their peak powers? Like, probably not. But I don't see why we can't have that as our goal. So much like a college football coach has to recruit high school players, has to go to the portal, and has to retain their players. They have to kind of do it all, keep them from going to the draft. Like, we need to do it all. We need to have a holistic view of acquiring talent.
Yeah, I have a few thoughts. I mean, I think first of all, the what if our best athletes played soccer argument, I think, is ridiculous for a number of reasons. First of all, you already mentioned how many people we have in the country. We should be fine. I also think there's a reason soccer players look like soccer players, like Luka Modric and Lionel Messi and Harry Kane. Like, the athletic skill set that you need to be a good soccer player is it's completely different from the skill set you need to be a good NFL player. And they're NFL-sized people who live all over the world, and I think there's a reason why you don't see a ton of them at the World Cup. So I think that argument, like, what if we just dropped Julio Jones or LeBron James into a soccer field? I think they would not be great soccer players. I think there is a size issue with the U.S. because there's a really interesting argument that the reason why a lot of these smaller countries are so good at soccer is because their elite players are close to other elite players and they grow up playing against the best players in the country. And so you could argue that here in the US, our best players are just spread out all over an insanely large country. And so the opportunity to regularly play against the best players in the country is not present at the same level as it is in other countries. And I buy that. I also think we're still kind of just now getting into the real fruits of the MLS Academy development system. And we've talked about this being a golden generation for the U.S. It's not. I think this is kind of just the first wave. And a lot of these guys like Chris Richards and Weston McKennie and Tyler Adams are kind of the first real products of like increased development and investment into the MLS Academy system. And you're seeing that now, like the guys who are probably going to be on the 2030 roster, like Xavier Gozo and Julian Hall and Diego Luna and Adri Mehmeti are like some of the best players, some of the best products that we've ever had. And I would put several of them higher than guys that we saw on the field for the U.S. at this World Cup. And so I think we're just now kind of getting into regularly churning out players who are not just good enough to make this U.S. national team, but are going to be sold to Europe and are going to do better than in Europe than a lot of the guys that we're watching on this team right now.
I look at somebody like Corcoran on the National SC roster. Is Corcoran a U.S. men's national team caliber midfielder? Probably not. But he's on the youth teams and he's played very well in situations where he's been dropped in at a very young age. 20 years ago, we would be talking about Corcoran as being the guy that we're going to be building our midfield around for the next 3 World Cups.
Yep.
And now we have the Corcorans of the world as being sort of the end product of the league here, and really raising the overall level of the league. And that is something that is very hard to measure in terms of like just improving overall quality and kind of the impact that will have on domestic soccer here in the United States. But it's happened. We are a radically different we are radically different pool of people than we were in 1994.
Yeah.
And in 30 more years, maybe the next time we host the Toasters thing. Although I think
are you going to be around, Steve, to talk about this? Like, are you going to realize the fruits of this labor?
I did see a reel last night, a guy leaving the stadium, and he's like, the most depressing thing about World Cup losses is realizing that they're every 4 years. I maybe have 9 more of these in my life.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, that's a lot actually for him. Good
dark.
For him.
It's
so
very
I
dark.
Do you guys know Brett Coleman at all? I don't know. He's a analyst. He's got like 170,000 followers. I think he's a college football guy. He says somebody was talking about Erling Haaland, right? This is the problem with American soccer is that we don't have Erling Haalands playing soccer. And it's like, okay, that's fine. I disagree with you a little bit that if LeBron James had been playing soccer at age 2 and was in a development camp, that he would be just fine as an athlete. I think he would. But that's not, I agree with the basic point, which is not that we need all of the 6'5" guys. And this was he posted this last night after the match. He said, it's not about all of our 6'4" freak athletes choosing to play linebacker in the SEC. It's about all of our 5'10" left-footed magicians choosing to play slot receiver in the Big 12, which is very much hits me in my college football World Cup overlap phase. And I think there's a little bit of truth to that. I think there's a little bit of truth to some of that.
And I think I agree with that part for sure. And I mean, I think we also are getting to the point where that is more realistic for a lot of people. I think for a few reasons. First of all, I think even the way this ended, I think this World Cup has made soccer more popular in the United States. I think it was already becoming more popular. More people are watching it regularly, and I think kids are playing it just at a higher rate than you've ever seen before. I also think there is something to be said for the fact that people are realizing just how bad football is for you as a human being to play regularly. And I think there are a lot of parents, certainly my age, like I'm not going to let my kids play tackle football. And I think there are a lot of other.
No, my wife's 100% in your camp on this.
And I think
sure.
I think young kids who are 10 or 12 now, who their parents are trying to find things for them to do, they're going to have them play soccer instead. And so I do think just the amount of kids and the investment that we're putting into youth development, it's boring, and it's the same conversation we've been having for years. But I do think it is improving, and it will be getting better. And it just takes time, because like the Argentinas and Frances and Englands and Brazils of the world have been doing this for 100 years, and we've been doing this for maybe 30 as a serious.
I don't know if it's like where I live in the city or not, but the number of PSG or Messi or Yamal or Arsenal or you don't see as many Bayern Munichs, but the I would guess that the ratio of like Mahomes jerseys or even Titans jerseys, or pick a great player in the NFL, relative to the number of international / club kits from all over the world in my neighborhood. Again, I live in East Nashville, so I get it. Maybe it's a different audience or whatever.
It's the same for me.
It's 10-1, guys. It's 10-1.
Yeah.
Every kid at my kid's elementary school and all their older siblings, every boy and a lot of the girls, it is 10-1 soccer kits to football jerseys.
It's gonna be a lot of those kids wearing Kylian Mbappe and Erling Haaland.
We are Barca fans. I told my daughters they cannot have a Kylian Mbappe jersey.
They can have what about a France Mbappe jersey?
So this is the argument. They wanted Messi too, and I was like, absolutely not. We are Nashville SC season ticket holders. We cannot have a pink Messi jersey. You can have an Argentinian one.
What about a Hani Mukhtar jersey?
She's had the Hani Mukhtar full kit forever.
Speaking of Germans who can win matches that matter at New England.
Wow. So here's the question for you guys. Let's start with Pochettino first, and that is, the press conference sounded like he was leaving the door open to maybe be around a little bit longer. The shine is maybe a little bit off of him, because I think he did get out coached in this game, but he still is a very, very solid commodity internationally for some job that might be considered certainly bigger or better, but like certainly more regular, right? You're playing more regular matches. I don't know what his motivation is on all of this. I don't know what he thinks. If he wants to stay on for a full cycle, I don't know anyone that would say no to him staying on with the full cycle. If you disagree, Cav, please let me know why. So I don't know what you guys think is going to happen here with the coach, with the manager.
You go, Cav.
This is an institutional. This is an institutional sort of thing. I don't think that we should have coaches doing multiple cycles. I just don't. I think that they need different voices, and I think that they need different tactics. And I think I would, if we are here 4 years from now and Pochettino is still the coach, and he may be very good at it, and he may do a great job. And Pochettino in CONCACAF qualifying would be absolutely a lot of fun to have. I mean, I think he'd be great. I think that Pochettino,
he hasn't had a full. To be fair, though, he hasn't had a full cycle. So
Pochettino as an ambassador for U.S. soccer, I don't know that you could pick a better one right now, because
the vibes around the team until the Belgium game were fantastic, and I think he's a large part of that.
He's a very large part of that. But I just kind of institutionally think that you shouldn't give multiple cycles to coaches, because they need to pick apart this roster. There's half this team won't be there in 4 years, and
It'd be more than half,
maybe even more. And
I mean, that's going to be my next question: is who's still here?
Yeah, let's get into that next. But I want to hear what.
But I just don't think we should do. I think we should break it now, and we should set a precedent. Now, I have someone who I would love to have coach the U.S. national team, and she's already in the fold, and she'll be free after the World Cup next year.
Paris Hilton.
Paris Hilton, exactly.
She's already wearing the denim kit.
I had to, let me throw this out here real quick here. I had two last things written down. Soccer is amazing. FIFA is not. I mean, I think we've been over this, but fuck FIFA.
Wait, who are you? Who are you referring to first?
And the last thing I have written down here is thank God for the U.S. women's national team, because you want to talk about vibes. We need some of those vibes right now. And
you're saying Emma Hayes to coach the men's team? Is that what you're saying?
And what I'm saying is Emma Hayes is brilliant and is a master motivator, and has a connection, has a one-on-one connection with players that I have not seen in a lot of coaches.
And she doesn't put up with BS from anybody.
No, she does not. And the thing I love about Emma Hayes is she is such a great ambassador for the game and an ambassador for U.S. soccer. She's been doing a lot of kind of like commentating and other stuff kind of around this, and you've seen her on a few podcasts. And
way more fashionable than Pochettino.
And she is just fucking fantastic. And so
okay, that's interesting. I've not heard that.
I would love to have Emma Hayes, but I understand that's not going to happen. That's fine.
I don't want to honestly. I kind of feel like that's taking her away from. I don't want to take her away from the women. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't either. But I think that after the World Cup next year, I think she's going to look for another. Okay. She's going to look for another challenge. And by the way, she will be able to write whatever ticket she wants to after the World Cup next year.
I agree with everything Steve said about the cycles. I would not be shocked if they give Pochettino a new contract. I would be very shocked if he is still around for the 2030 World Cup, because it does feel like this was kind of a coach until the World Cup, and then you'll find a different job. And I wouldn't be shocked if he sticks around and then they add some kind of release clause so that he can take another job. I don't think he's going to be around. I don't think he probably should get a new deal.
He's also going to be very in demand among big European clubs. Who honestly can pay more.
This felt like an opportunity for him to, coach at a World Cup, and I think he did help this team, but it was also a chance for him to kind of raise his stock and maybe kind of fix his reputation a little bit after a few pretty bad stints on the club level. I don't think he'll be back. I'm fascinated to see who they bring back or who they bring in. I mean, I've talked to all kinds of people. A lot of them think they're going to go for another big name. A lot of them think they're going to go look within the U.S. soccer pool at someone like BJ Callahan. And I think he'd do a good job. And I think there are also some questions about if he's too close to it, and if he has a relationship with the players already, and if they need someone who is just completely from the outside, like Pochettino, to come in and completely change things. And I think I lean more towards that after seeing how they kind of crashed out against Belgium.
As an SC fan, I agree.
Can I throw a name at you, Ben? And I just want to see your reaction. Pep Guardiola.
I mean, that's honestly kind of the move I think that they might try to make, because they need to stay relevant. And I mean, he's a great coach, but he's also the kind of name that casuals will tune in to watch the U.S. solely because of Pep Guardiola.
Pep took that.
He also
year
has a condo in New York.
Yeah, I was gonna say Pep took that year in between. He moved his family to New York. They have liked being in the States. He has been very sort of kind of positive about the U.S. in general.
I think my hesitation with that is
spectacular.
They already had to go out and get donors to get Pochettino, and so they might be able to do it again. I just don't know if the long-term plan, if that's the long-term plan, or if hiring someone of Pochettino's caliber and at his expense was kind of a one-time thing for a home World Cup, and if they're looking to go back to their normal budget. If
I was a big investor, this would be the time to ask me for money.
Okay. Well, I mean, if money is no issue, go after Pep Guardiola, and I think he would do what Pochettino has done and more, as far as kind of tearing things down and setting a new hierarchy. And I think he would be good for this team.
Pep has been a builder in different places too, and I think that if you want to bring in somebody who's probably good for the whole structure of U.S. soccer, and who will speak truth to bullshit, it's probably Guardiola.
And from an innovation, like, he's an innovator, right? I'm not as familiar with his career, but like schematically, he's a bit of an innovator, and that's also what you want, modernization of the program.
Everybody around the world ends up doing what Guardiola had been doing 2 years ago. I mean, that's kind of the blueprint.
Right.
I think he would be great. I think BJ would be good, and I think he's probably the best American coach right now. If you're wanting an American to take over, I do kind of wonder if he is too close to Berhalter and the players, and what that looks like. Because if you had told me that before the Belgium game, and if they had kind of kept along the same trajectory they were at during the group stage in the round of 32, and lost a really tough match to Belgium, but looked kind of the same as they had, I think I would feel differently about bringing in BJ Callahan than I do now. And now I kind of wonder if you just need someone who's going to be harsh and and just because the attitude and like the complete lack of fight that we saw from this team, you have to fix that somehow. And I think that has to be the priority.
And it has to happen quickly though, right? Because that was the whole, like, had Pochettino had a full cycle, we Cav's point would be even more valid. Like, you had 4 years and this is what we got. You got to do it. You got to do it now, not like you did with Berhalter.
I don't think you have to do it now. Like, I don't think you have to name someone next week, but
you know what I mean?
I think you have to do it within the next 6 months for sure.
Yeah, that's what I mean. All right, quickly, Tennessee Brew Works downtown. I had a chance to watch the England Cape Verde match with some friends at Tennessee Brew Works. A great place. They got big TVs. They got great beer. They got great food. So go check out Tennessee Brew Works downtown. Great place to pregame for anything you're doing, but also just go watch matches down there. So Yazoo Brewing Company in Madison, Tennessee Brew Works downtown, and East Nashville Beer Works in East Nashville and really East Nashville. So make sure you check out all those great local beers to drown your sorrows while not watching any more USA soccer. All right, I have two. I want you guys to run through the roster and who you think is, like, I just want the locks. I don't want to debate the roster at the bottom half or whatever, but who are the players that you think absolutely still need to be, should they develop and continue, who need to be a part of the new core, or maybe the Chris Richards becomes Tim Ream kind of thing, who's still on the team. The other thing is I could see this coming back. This is my theory I'm working on. I could see it coming back to the States sooner than we realize.
I think it will.
It will, but
FIFA changed the rules for it has to kind of cycle through confederations.
They made a fortune on this for good reasons and bad. 2038, I don't think is out of the question.
It's also going to go to 64 teams at some point. I mean, I think that's probably, unless, okay, yeah, we can get into that. I think if there's a real shot that Infantino is done after the whole Balogun thing, and maybe stuff changes. But if they stay at 48 teams, which I think they do, or if they go to 64 teams, just the number of places that can host that,
you can have this in about 4 places.
On one hand. Yeah.
So I'm not crazy then for thinking it's going to be Spain, Portugal, Morocco in 2030. Has 34 been announced yet?
No, but it'll be Saudi Arabia.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then I wouldn't be 38 might be a little early, but
England, I know
42 is very possible.
I know the UK is making a big push to kind of do a joint thing for 2038. I wouldn't be shocked if they get it, but then 2042.
Yeah, 2042, which is just not that far away.
That's
Speak for
depressing.
yourself. All of Ben's kids will be out of the house by then. What are you talking about?
Man, I can actually go to some games.
Same. All right, who's on the roster in 2030?
All right, so you want to do this draft style?
You guys do it.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
guys
let's do it.
You guys do it.
Okay,
I'll
I'm gonna
write it down.
I'm going to take the obvious one. I'm going to take Chris Richards.
Okay, I'm going to take Alex Freeman.
Okay, that's good. I'm going to take Weston McKennie.
Yeah, that's a good one. Sebastian Berhalter.
Yeah, that's a good one. I'm going to take Flo Balogun.
Yeah, he probably should have. He probably should have been the first.
Probably should have been first, but
Yeah.
I thought you were going to take Richards. So
No, yeah. I think Tyler Adams still. If he's healthy, I mean he'll be
if
in
he's
his early
healthy.
30s.
I mean
but
that's a big if, man. Like the
that's
mileage.
that's always an if with him at every tournament too.
A lot of these guys are all going to be 30, 31, 32. Like a lot of these guys.
The mileage
I'm
on
30
Adams.
Watch it. I'm 32. I can still play.
The mileage on Adams in the position he plays and the
Yeah.
way he throws his body around. Like if he's here 4 years from now, that's just gravy.
I think if he's healthy,
Yeah.
he'll probably still be around, which is a big if.
Yeah.
And then now we're getting to the point where I'm like,
That's it.
I'm working hard to
Jedi?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, he's another guy too that if he's healthy, he could probably make.
Pulisic's going to be on the team, guys. Like here's the thing.
Yeah,
Maybe this is your point, Ben, about like the Adams, McKinney, Pulisic kind of wave of Richards, the wave of development, and then watching Belgium pull off or pull on De Bruyne and like those guys in the second half. Like what you want is for the development waves to continue coming, and so that in 2030 you can pull Adams on. You're up 1 goal, you want to bring Adams in for 20 minutes at the end of a match. You're down a goal, you want to put Pulisic in on the wing, down with 20 minutes to go. Like you want that wave that was the sort of the centerpieces of this team to be the depth pieces that make the other team, the next team, more experienced, smarter, and deeper. And that's kind of what it feels like. Is Adams and Pulisic and these other guys coming off the bench at 30, 31 years old sounds pretty good, honestly.
Yeah. No, that's fair. I think Malik Tillman will probably be there. I think I think he has a lot of limitations from open play, but I think just kind of from a transfer perspective, I think his stock raised this World Cup, and I wouldn't be shocked if he ends up moving to a bigger club. And I mean, to be fair to him, he has developed significantly in the last 2 years, so he's still young, and I think has a good trajectory. I think Chris Brady he's going to be around in the pool for a while. We didn't see him, so he's kind of an afterthought, but he's like one of the best keepers in MLS and is still super young and can at least, I think he can make pretty spectacular saves that I don't think Matt Turner or Matt Freese can.
I don't think Matt Freese or Matt Turner will be in the pool 4 years from now.
I wouldn't be surprised if neither of them really play for this team going forward.
Yeah.
I mean, Brady and Schwacke seems like a pretty good way to place to start moving forward.
Well, and there's
Diego Cochin and
yeah, and if you know, like Gaga Slovenia ever resurrected,
he's what 20 years old, and we've been saying that for 10 years.
I know. It's like, you know, 2 cycles from now, he's gonna break into the team at like 28 and still have 10 years left on his I mean, his half-life.
There's a core here, right? I mean, Reyna's pretty young.
Reyna will not play. Reyna will not
young.
play in the next World Cup.
Nope.
Okay. I mean, I'm just saying there's a lot of names on this team that you still have on the next team.
Gio Reyna made this team with an absence of any club minutes to speak of.
Honestly,
and
watch him come to MLS. If we're talking about MLS, if we're talking about U.S. players who are going to come to MLS, he could come here and start and actually get minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I think there's a lot of guys here that I wish we could have seen Christian Roldan for a minute. I wish we could have seen Alex Zendejas for a minute. I think this was their chance to get on the field in the World Cup, and they didn't.
We saw Zendejas for 1 match, right? Turkey.
Yeah,
he was on there for a second.
Like the tail end. Yeah,
I wouldn't be shocked if someone like Joe Scally is on the team as a depth piece. We didn't see him much, but he's like an everyday starter in the Bundesliga, and I think he's not He's never gonna give you an 8 or 9 out of 10, but he's also not gonna lose a game like Sergiño Dest did last night.
I mean,
so I think that's
Scally 23s and Dejas 28. So there's a big difference there.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
who are your favorite players in the 21, 22, 23 range? I know we've talked about Freeman and Tillman and Berhalter.
I mean,
those Balogun's in that group too, but is there another set of players that you love that are in that 21, 22, 23-year-old range right now?
I wanted Xavier Gozo to be on the roster now. He's 19 and has been one of the best players in MLS and would be able to play that wingback Sergiño Dest role perfectly. I would kind of be surprised if he plays in MLS the second half of the season because I think he's going to Europe. He's awesome. Julian Hall, if they can convince him to play for the US and not Poland, he looks like he's already one of the best strikers in MLS. I mean, he's kind of a golden boot contender now, and he's 17. Mehmeti for the New York Red Bulls looks like one of the better midfielders. He looks like the closest thing we've produced to like a Sergio Busquets, and I think he's going to be absolutely awesome in 4 years. I mean, there are a lot of guys.
I think Luna is going to be in for the next cycle.
Man, in retrospect, how nice would it have been to throw him?
How nice would it have been to put him in there? I mean, to take Pulisic out and put Luna's energy in.
If only anybody had thought of that.
If only you don't thought about it. I feel bad for Tanner Tessman, who, from what it sounds like, had one bad game in kind of the system where they were trying like the 3 at the back system, but they were dropping him into the back line. I think this was the Belgium game, or what, like one of, and it didn't work. And apparently, like that was the deciding factor between Berhalter and Tessman there in midfield. Tessman's really talented. I think he's only gonna get better. And I think we'll see him maybe even starting. But if not, but he'll definitely be on the next.
He'll be 28 in 2030, so he's 24 right now, same age as Balogun and Tillman. Yeah. Also Cardosa, right? Johnny Cardosa is 24 years old.
No,
I don't know what his situation looks like.
He plays for Atletico Madrid, and I don't think has ever produced anything for the U.S. national team.
Ricardo Pepi's only 23. He's going to be in the mix for the next few years.
If he gets a move to, I mean, he's been linked with Fulham, and I think he's not going to stick around at PSV for long. He's another one who has never really convinced whenever he's actually played for the national team. But he's young, and I think he's still developing. There's a chance he goes and plays in the Premier League and ends up being a pretty decent player. So,
yeah, Sergiño Dest is only 21 years old.
No, that's wrong.
That can't be true. That can't be right. I was going to say. Okay. Well, look, we got a long time to project the 2030 World Cup roster. That is for sure. But man, thank you guys all for hanging out and listening. He is 25 right now, so this projection of the future ages just didn't update his. So I apologize.
Those are not all highway miles.
Yeah, that's right. So Tennessee Brew Works, Yazoo Brewing Company, East Nashville Brew Works really appreciate all their support on all of this. We'll continue World Cup coverage through the next week, and then we'll get right back into Nashville SC coverage with Ben Wright, of course, at 615 Soccer, and Steve Cavendish of the Nashville Banner. Any parting shots of wisdom / pain that you want to share with everybody?
Last night,
I want to know who you're rooting for.
Oh man, I don't know. I haven't even thought that far ahead. I guess I would just say last night really, really sucked, and it kind of feels like we ended up in the same spot that we do at every World Cup. But if you got the bug and want to keep watching soccer, I think the best way that you can do it is to pick a local team and go watch them in person. And I'm not going to like grandstand about the importance of supporting local soccer, but I do think it makes a difference for growing the game and developing and helping find better players. And so, yeah, stick around.
I think it helps if you want your kids or young people to get involved in this particular sport, being able to go see it in person matters a lot. It is how you connect with a community and a supporters group and everything else. So
those clubs are the ones that are going to be finding players and developing them. And so even just supporting them financially by purchasing tickets helps.
Yep.
I will be over this in a couple of days. emotionally, it's going to hang around for a while, but
it's not going to be that fast for me. It's going to be a couple years.
But this World Cup has been spectacular.
It has,
and in ways that there were doomsayers about the 48 team bracket that I don't think that's true. Like I think that the pool was deep enough. There are a couple of exceptions in there, but there's always sort of a couple of exceptions in there. I mean, like some of the Saudi Arabia teams that were fielded in the last 20 years that kept making World Cups out of a weak qualifying group were just as bad as Curacao or Qatar this time. I think the expanded field has been great, and we've seen so many good games and so many fun games that I think that this World Cup has been a success that I didn't know that it was going to be.
The drama has been extraordinary.
The drama has been absolutely amazing. I mean, that Mexico England game, it was just like one of the more spectacular games I've ever seen. And just in terms of the drama of it all. It's
sort of how I want the U.S. to play. It reminded me of Alabama Ole Miss 2015.
Yeah, well, Mexico's out too, so just maybe temper that request.
I don't care if we lose playing the way Mexico tried to play.
Yeah, seriously.
I want to watch a team that I'm proud to call our country's team, and that is not necessarily what happened on Monday night, but I don't want to end that way. I want to end on a positive note, which is this World Cup has been extraordinary.
And Nashville SC come back in 10 days and are on top of the Supporter Shield standings through 14 games. They have 33 points. Every other team in league history that has had 33 points through 14 games has won the Supporter Shield. So stick around. There might be some silverware, and if they win Supporter Shield, they will play at home through MLS
Braden
Cup.
And how many of those teams won the MLS Cup?
One.
Braden, who are you cheering for?
But, hey, you know what? Why would you not do that and take home field advantage through the playoffs?
Oh, I totally agree. No, I'm not saying don't do it. Although we did not talk about this, but we will as soon as we get back to coverage. But Lewandowski playing for Chicago is a massive story that's
a problem.
But they're change the balance of power in the
They're
East.
apparently going after Leon Goretzka too, which might balance things out and make them average again.
I'm just saying Chicago's not going anywhere.
Don't ask him to take any penalties.
Miami's not going anywhere. Chicago's not going anywhere in the East, and the race in the East is going to be very real in the second half.
Nashville SC will add players.
So let me ask this.
Hour and 12 minutes. We got some scoop.
I think right.
Let's keep going.
I think we all think France is going to win this thing. There's certainly. Well, put it this way, okay. I don't think any of us have seen evidence to the contrary that France could win is going to win this thing. Who you cheering for down the stretch?
I mean, I would. After seeing the way that England kind of grinded it out against Mexico, I feel better about them than I did before that.
You know who's really, really likable that I knew was going to be this way, but I didn't expect myself to react as much is Colombia.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Norway.
Norway I knew kind of going in. I was going to root for Holland and Odegaard, and let's see how far these two can carry them. And this match against England is going to be huge. I came in. Spain and England are my two favorite like clubs that I watch EPL and I watch La Liga. I like those players. England and Spain playing in a final would be so much fun because it means France is not there. Anything with Messi is great for the game because it brings in so much viewership, even if we're tired of seeing him. But I think if you're asking for an underdog that I really like, Norway's on that list. But I think they're so much fun to watch. They are just such a fun team to watch.
So I'm cheering for Spain. I've been a Spain fan for a long time.
Yeah,
I love this team. They're fun to watch. They're so talented. And for all the talk about Portugal, like that was the best midfield that's been the best midfield in the tournament so far. I will say this: if Norway wins their next game, Katie bar at the door. Like we could be talking about a Norway world champion. Why not? I mean,
14 straight matches with a goal for Holland, right?
I mean, there are some historical precedents to kind of back this up, and this is their big test. If Norway beats France
or England, yeah.
I'm sorry, Norway beats England. I think they could win the World Cup.
They were clearly the better side against Brazil. They were the better team.
Yeah, they were, and even in their group stage game against France, when they rolled out their second 11, and France did France things to them, but they did it. Their second 11 was very plucky, and I'd love to see what the starters would do against them.
Not to pour cold water on this, but our prediction model gives them a 1.9% chance of winning it all.
So you're saying there's a chance
of the 10 teams.
Well, you said Belgium was a slight favorite, actually, Ben, last week on the show. So obviously it's wrong. They were a dominant favorite.
Oh yeah, you know what? But of the 10 teams, including Egypt right now, who are still alive, they have the second lowest chance to win it. England currently favored at 21%, Spain at 20%, France at 19%, and Argentina at 16%.
Who are you rooting for, Ben?
I'm not rooting for anybody. I just want to see fun games. I probably should.
I
probably should root for England. I mean, my dad grew up there, and my favorite club team is English. But it's also just fun watching them be sad. And I don't want to have to listen to you. I don't want to have to listen to England fans like winning a World Cup after US crashed out. Like,
oh my God!
Would France would obviously carry with it a lot of history. Argentina and Spain would be a really fun matchup. That would be a great game.
Argentina and England.
That'd be a semi. That would have to be a semi. But yeah, that's a great one.
True, yeah.
Falklands 3.
Islands,
Let's settle it all here.
Spain and England, though, from a dichotomy of styles and to have talent and to have backstory and to have the English story of playing in a final, win or lose, is enormous. To your point, Ben, like watching them be sad, but also watching them like. England being in the final would make for an enormous story, whether it's against France or Spain or Belgium or Morocco.
Could Spain and Morocco be a final, or is that a semifinal?
No, it's a semi.
It's a semi.
I mean, I think that'll probably happen, and that's going to be juicy.
Yeah.
You think Morocco's going to beat France, huh?
I don't know. I feel like France are going to implode at some point, either in the final or the semifinal.
Fascinating.
Put it this way: France has. You talk about somebody that has had no bad vibes whatsoever in this tournament. It will be interesting to see what that group of guys once they get hit in the mouth.
My wife likes watching France because she thinks Mbappe has she's very annoyed by his face. And I was like, that's just France. That's just France soccer. That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
But they're just so good. They're a total machine. So we'll see what happens. But should be great fun. Thank you guys all for hanging out. Thanks to Steve and to Ben for you guys hanging out with me as well. I'm Braden Gall. Make sure you check out 615 Soccer. Make sure you check out Nashville Banner. We will be back next week with more World Cup coverage, but we're going to start shifting towards Nashville SC as they get back on the pitch here locally. So great stuff, guys. Everybody, I hope that was enough copium for everybody. We'll see what happens. For Ben and Steve, I'm Braden. Thanks for listening. Thanks for hanging out. We'll talk to you next time.